For example, you could write code like this, which doesn't look too terrible at first glance, partly because I needed a snippet that would fit on a single slide. But when you look closely at what the code is doing, you have code that's touching and manipulating UI elements, interwoven with code that's doing data access, interwoven with business logic or interaction logic code. Now take this out of a slide's worth of code and put it into the context of real-world methods that I'm sure we all have either written or been asked to maintain, where you have the same kind of interleaving of concerns, but spread across a method that is hundreds or thousands of lines of code long. This is the code equivalent of taking your tangled mess of clothing and stuffing it in a drawer. The developer who wrote this code has tangled up a bunch of different concerns and put them all in one place. At some point after that, probably on a somewhat ongoing basis, another developer is going to be tasked with adding a feature or fixing a bug that requires digging into this tangle and making changes. That poor soul is going to have to deal with a heap of complexity that goes well beyond whatever specific problem they are trying to address at the moment. And that added complexity is because the developer who originally wrote the code did not take the time to put things in their proper place up front. So what does MVVM do to address this? Think of it as a set of shelves and drawers that are predefined and well labeled, so that each time you go to write code of a certain nature, you have a specific place you should be putting it. There is a shelf where you put your UI element access, that is your view definitions. There is a place for your interaction logic, that is your view models. The data objects you work with go on the models shelf. Any true business logic should probably be in a separate layer or perhaps behind a service boundary, along with data access being well separated from what the UI code is doing directly. You might also have some shared client-side logic that's used by multiple views, and that has its own shelf too. The specific way you set up your shelves and drawers is not really important. It depends on the solution you're working in, the team that you're on, and some personal preference. But having well-defined places for different kinds of code to go, and a good sense of what code goes there, is very important, and is really what MVVM is meant to guide you in doing for developing client application code.